Hello, Rebels. Gary Robinson here, independent author of the Realm Keeper series, the upcoming novel Rebel Yell, the red one back there on my bookshelf, Touch Trilogy, Non-Zombie, The Ninjabread Man, and currently the fantasy serialized adventure Nightblade. This is my show VlogaNovel, where I live create a book for you from beginning to end. Everything from outlining to writing the first draft, editing, formatting, and publication all happens on streaming video on my YouTube channel. This is the last video that's going to happen on this YouTube channel. Future episodes of VlogaNovel will happen on the VlogaNovel YouTube channel. YouTube.com/VlogaNovel should take you there. So go there and subscribe if you want to see more of these in the future, or keep an eye on my social media. I'll be posting it there. You can also find all episodes on Reddit in the VlogaNovel subreddit. This is the last episode of Nightblade, episode 3, where I will be narrating the book, and hopefully will be turning out a very good audiobook for you guys. This is also sort of like a final copy edit, because reading it out loud, you tend to always spot things that you never spotted before. So some tiny, tiny minor changes going to be happening to the book. So let's get started. Let's wrap this sucker up. Okay. It's quite late. This is gonna be the last thing I do before I go to sleep. And I get to sleep in tomorrow because I'm not teaching a class. Oh my God. Chapter 5. Chapter 15. They spotted the walls of Cabris as the sun hung low in the sky, bathing Lauren's right side in a soft orange glow. Nerves made her blood roil within her, and she hunched her shoulders a bit lower. She walked near the carriages, in plain sight of both Damaris and Annis, and under Gregor's baleful glare. As the walls loomed taller, Damaris's carriage swerved left to draw near. The merchant disembarked and walked beside Lauren for a moment. "You will stay safe if you remain unnoticed," said Damaris. "They will not recognize you in your new cloak. Keep the hood drawn about your face, and we will pass through the gate without incident." "Yes, my lady," said Lauren, "and thank you." She had to force earnestness into her voice. Damaris nodded and returned to her carriage. Just behind it, Gregor glared at Lauren from horseback. She stuck her tongue out at him. She let her eyes rove to the second carriage, and saw Annis peeking out from the door's window. The girl looked terrified, and Lauren's own fears rose to fever pitch. But she must rely on Annis now. She had no time to turn from her course to plan a new one. They drew closer still, and then as she scanned the wall, Lauren's heart sank into her boots. There before the gate stood Corin and Byrne. Lauren recognized them at once, the one short and broad, the other tall and slender, but no less muscular. On instinct she ducked her head, dutifully studying her feet. She let her steps wander right, as if by accident, drifting closer to Damaris's carriage. "My lady," she hissed, "they are here." Damaris looked out from her window. "Who, child?" "The constables. The one who's—" "The constables. The ones who pursued me." Damaris leaned out to look ahead. "My eyes are not what they used to be. The two before the gate?" "With the red leather pauldrons, aye." Damaris pursed her lips for a moment. "This complicates things. Still, we should have nothing to fear. Fall behind Annis's carriage, and let me confer with Gregor." Lauren did as commanded, though she could almost feel the hidden intent behind Damaris's words. She took the opportunity to walk just by Annis's window, and the girl looked out. "What's wrong?" "The constables," said Lauren. "Those who pursued me, they are here." "What for?" said Annis. "I thought they wanted the wizard, not you." "They must have had little luck finding him, and decided to guard the road against me instead," said Lauren. "Then Mother will place you into their hands for certain," said Annis. "Not if we carry out our plan as discussed. Are you ready?" "How does one ready for this?" said Annis. "But yes." The carriage door swung open, and Annis came out to walk beside Lauren. Her face seemed pale somehow under its dark coloring, and her eyes flitted nervously about. "You look nervous," said Lauren in a low murmur. "I am nervous," hissed Annis, "but you must not show it. Come, tell me of the High King's seat. Speak as you often do when we walk together." Annis thought for a moment, her mouth hanging open, then shook her head. "I cannot. I can scarcely remember what the place looks like. All my thoughts reside here, now, and I am not overjoyed at our chances." Lauren thought her heart might hammer through her chest. If Annis lost her nerve, Lauren was lost. The merchant's daughter would carry on, but Lauren would find herself in the hands of the constables. "You must not lose heart," said Lauren. "Without me, how long before you have another chance to escape? What if they discover your mother in that time? They will cast your family down and throw you in chains or the stocks. Do you think your age will save you? And meanwhile you will bear witness to betrayal and death, powerless to stop it." Annis did not answer immediately. She clutched a bulge at her side under her cloak, a bulge that hid a package wrapped in brown cloth. "That's better," said Lauren, hoping she spoke the truth. "Come now. Courage." Just then, Gregor pulled up to walk beside them. The walls stood dangerously close now, and Lauren felt far too exposed under the eyes of Corin and Byrne. The captain spoke without looking at her. "My lady commands you to walk by her daughter's carriage," said Gregor. "You will pose as her lady-in-waiting." "But I will be in plain sight," said Lauren. "The constables will recognize me for certain." Gregor glared at her. "I bring my lady's orders, not an opportunity for debate. The carriage, now." Lauren swallowed hard, and let Annis guide her to the carriage. But Annis did not climb aboard again, electing to walk. The caravan pulled to a halt before the gate. There, only 30 feet away, stood the constables who had pursued Lauren for days. Behind them stood several guards, with more posted along the wall. Lauren thought of the arrow Byrne had loosed at her, and could not suppress a shudder. She peered at the constables from below her cowl, desperate not to show them her face. "Well met again," said Corin. "What news from the road?" "Precious little," said Damaris, leaning out to speak from her carriage window. "And in the city?" "Little as well," said Corin. "Tell me, where is our brother constable? We sent him north to meet you, for he thought that mayhap we had not questioned you as closely as we might." "We met him upon the road," said Damaris. "He put us to search, and when he found nothing, he rode away north." Corin and Byrne exchanged glances at that. Byrne spoke next. "Why would he ride north, and not south to report to us?" Damaris dismissed him with a laugh. "You ask me? What could I know of his aims and intent?" "Mayhap he never reached you," said Byrne, his voice a low growl. "Or mayhap he did and took coin to leave." Lauren felt a presence and looked up to see Gregor looming behind her. She stood within easy reach of his long arms, and she pictured them leaping out to wrap her in a death embrace. "Your men must tarnish easily if you so quickly suspect bribery," said Damaris. Byrne acted as if she had not spoken. "Or mayhap he lies in a cold ditch somewhere along the road, a concern to you no longer." Damaris scoffed again. "Do you think I would raise my hand against the king's law?" "It runs in your blood," spat Byrne. Corin raised his hands and tried to calm his partner, but the taller constable would not subside. "Tell us where he is, or I swear I will put you to the question." "You would threaten a friend to the crown?" said Damaris, lightly, as though that wasn't lightly at all. That was not even close to lightly. "You would threaten a friend to the crown?" said Damaris, lightly, as though she asked after his family. "My partner speaks hastily, my lady," said Corin. "We have had no luck finding the wizard, and the search wears us both thin." Byrne ignored him. "Friend to the crown?" he snapped. "What have you ever done to earn that title, you leech?" "Why, I have brought you both a mighty gift," said Damaris. Lauren felt a shifting behind her and knew the moment had arrived. "Ennis, now!" she cried. She leapt forward and felt the tail end of her cloak slip through Gregor's grasping fingers. Ennis drew back her arm and let fly. The package of brown cloth flew through the air. For a moment Lauren feared it would fall short of its target, but Ennis had a surprisingly good arm. The package landed perfectly between Damaris's carriage and the constable's, bursting open upon the ground. Lauren caught a flash of glistening black as a cluster of obsidian crystals spilled across the ground. A moment's pregnant silence stretched. Then many things happened at once. The constables cried out as one and drew their blades, as did the men behind them. Atop the wall, a guard blew a horn. The men on the ground rushed Damaris's carriage, and Gregor's men surged forward to meet them. The air rang with the clash of steel. Gregor screamed in fury and charged the constable's men, forgetting Lauren and Annis for the moment. Lauren seized Annis's hand in her own and ran for the girl's carriage. The dagger leapt into her hand before she could think to draw it, and she slashed at the leather that bound the lead horse to its harness. The driver cried out in alarm, but Lauren ignored him. Clashing steel made the horse whinny in fright, and it nearly bolted. Lauren jumped back, but Annis pressed forward. She took the harness in her hands like reins and put a hand on the horse's neck, whispering soothing words. The driver started to climb down off his perch. Lauren leapt toward him, the dagger held forward. She thrust it at the space between his legs, and the man yelped as he flew back to his seat. "Stay where you are," said Lauren. "Next time I strike true." It was a lie, but the man believed her and did not move again. The horse had calmed, and Lauren flung herself onto its back. Then she leaned down to seize Annis's hands and drag the shorter girl up in front, where her long years of riding experience would help most. Annis kicked her heels into the horse's flanks, and Lauren nearly pitched off the back. She only stopped herself by clutching Annis's body with both hands. The horse That was a pretty good run, actually. The horse swerved at first, heading right for the fighting. Lauren screamed incoherently, and Annis dragged the reins to the right. The horse turned aside at the last moment, passing the edge of the men who swirled in battle around Damaris's carriage. Gregor stood there, and he turned to stare at them in astonishment. They passed just close enough, and Lauren lashed out with her boot. Gregor's nose crunched under the sole, and he fell. They fled as fast as they could. Behind them, Lauren heard Damaris's voice erupt in a cry of rage and anguish as her daughter sped away from her forever. "We'll ride around the city," said Lauren, shouting over the thunder of hooves. She grunted after every other word. Riding a horse hurt even more without a saddle. "Then stay on the road south and make for the next one, or perhaps hide in woods nearby while we think of where to go." "We can't," said Annis. "It's too far to the next city on one horse. Mother will catch us for certain, and they say bandits roam these woods." "We cannot enter the city," said Lauren, aghast. "We must." said Annis. "We shall come in by another gate before word has had time to spread. Easier to hide among 1,000 people than 10,000 trees, or so I have heard. We will hide until we find secure passage from the city. I have brought coin." She dug into a pocket and pulled out a coin purse. She placed it in Lauren's hand, then dug out another and jingled it between her fingers. She glanced at Lauren over her shoulder, and an impish grin spread across her features. "And that is not all. Look!" She dug within her pocket again, and withdrew a second package wrapped in brown cloth. Lauren's breath hissed between her teeth. "I fear you have stolen something far more dear than coin." "If others value it so highly, that is to our advantage." "And here I meant to be a thief," said Lauren. "You take to it most naturally." Annis laughed, and they rode on. Audio pop. And I don't like that line delivery, so good thing I stopped. "And here I meant to be the thief," said Lauren. "You take to it most naturally." Annis laughed, and they rode on. Soon the horse had carried them to another gate, this one on the south and west side of the city. Many people crowded this road, unlike the King's Road that had lain empty. Annis skillfully guided the horse into line between two wagons, one loaded high with hay, the other filled with cages that held chickens. "Cabris has a large district where the people are poor and the constables lax in their patrols," said Annis, speaking quietly now. "We will find an inn there, the sort where the master does not ask too many questions. Then we will seek out some traveler or trader who means to leave the city and buy our passage with him." "Who can we trust?" said Lauren. "Anyone who hears of your mother will turn us over for the reward she will surely bring." Annis bit her lower lip. "I had not thought of that. But no matter. We will think of something." They passed through the gate without incident. The guards took one look at Annis's fine dress and Lauren's black cloak and nodded, waving them through. One guard gave a curious look at the horse's lack of saddle, but beyond that they all ignored the girls. Audio pop. One guard gave a curious look at the horse's lack of saddle, but beyond that they all ignored the girls. Lauren realized with some surprise that the guards thought her a girl of noble birth. That felt curious. Once inside, Lauren dismounted and walked beside the horse, relieved not to feel the creature's spine slapping between her legs any longer. Though at first she glanced over her shoulder and peered doubtfully around every corner, soon her eyes drew up and around to stare at the city. She knew she had visited Cabris once as a child, but only because adults had told her of it. She could remember nothing of the place. Now she could not imagine how people lived here. Buildings pressed up against each other, some sharing walls. Some stood only a single level, while others had second floors that overhung the street. Lauren yelped and dodged as someone emptied a pot out a window into the street beside her. A wave of stench a moment later told her it had been a chamber pot. "Is this the poor district?" she said, tugging on Annis's dress. "This? No, of course not," said Annis. She looked down at Lauren from the horse, nonplussed. "But then why—" Lauren could not finish her thought, for strong hands seized her from behind. One gripped her left hand, and the other seized her right shoulder. "Greetings, Lauren of the family Nelda," hissed Burns' cruel voice in her ear. Lauren had no time to think, and acted upon the first thought to cross her mind. She reached out and slapped the horse's rump as hard as she possibly could. The beast whinnied and tore off, speeding down the cobbled street and out of sight. After it! Cried Byrne. Several men in leather armor pursued the horse down the street. Byrne whirled Lauren around, and she saw Corin standing there with several others. "Welcome to Cabris," said Lauren. His eyes were grim. "You seem to have much to answer for." And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so that will be the end of this episode of VlogaNovel and the end of the VlogaNovel process for Nightblade Episode 3. Again, you can buy the book and the link in the blue section of the screen, garrettbrobinson.com/nb-3. If you have not experienced the book at all, the bottom link in the blue section is for you, garrettbrobinson.com/nb-1, and that will take you to the first episode, which is free everywhere. You can try it for free, and if you don't like it, then please don't continue reading. I hate making people read things that they don't like. Thank you very much. Again, I will be migrating VlogaNovel to its own channel in the, well, for the next video, which should start tomorrow. So go to youtube.com/VlogaNovel if you do want to keep getting these videos. Also, feel free to check out Reddit. The subreddit VlogaNovel is where I post all of these episodes, and that's always constantly updated. So there you go. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Another book bites the dust. I'll see you next time. Bye.